What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with reactions to the classics. Today we got a reaction to Ghost and their top 10 songs, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter and patron of the channel, River. Thank you, River. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or the Patreon link on the end screen. Couldn't do it without them. River says for October, because it's October of 2024 when I'm putting this up, I will list the top 10 songs by Ghost. The band led by Cardinal Copia, aka Tobias Forge, is what I'd call the quintessential mix of metal, aesthetic, and pop rock. Using satanic imagery and lyrics one could assume were written by some pop star who worshiped the devil to enthrall both metalheads and pop fans alike. While I won't say the band is heavy, they have songs that both tickle me as a metal fan and someone who does enjoy some pop music rarely. If you know anything about them, Ghost is a rock band known for its distinctive blend of theatrics, heavy metal, and arena rock. Formed in 2006, the band first gained attention with their 2010 three-track demo and their debut album, Opus Eponymous. The album nominated for Grammys and featured the song Ritual. Listed by Kerrang as one of the 50 most evil songs ever, catapulted them to international recognition. Then their 2013 major label debut, Infestamen. Ghost's ascendancy in the rock world continued with their 2015 album, Meloria, which reached #1 in Sweden, #8 in the US. And the lead single, Cerise. I mean, there's a lot of names on here, guys. I'm not a Ghost guy. I like them, the stuff I know. I don't know much. Earned them the 2016 Grammy Award for Best Metal Performance. So they have a unique on-stage presence. My daughter, Mackenzie, actually went and saw them a year ago in concert. Said it was the best concert she'd ever seen. And she's seen a lot of concerts. Yeah, they just kind of are known for those things, but their music is really good. So I know if you're a Ghost fan, like picking the top 10 is going to be really hard to do. So kudos to River for even tackling this thing. If you haven't been on this before, the music won't be in the video, but it will be at a Vimeo link below. So click on that and follow along with this. Let's kick this thing off with Griftwood. River said, not the last song I'll be including off Impera, which I think is their best album overall. So it's off the Impera album from 2022. Tobias says it's about Mike Pence. That song's about him and anyone like him who's willing to soil everything they've worked for. They definitely qualify for a front row ticket to hell, which is so ironic because that's what they believe in. People like that completely demean themselves and just do whatever they can to achieve things, sell their soul, in other words. Again, he stands as a symbol for people of all times where the end game is wrapped with some sort of religious thing. He's known as a sort of Bible thumper, believing that he has a strong faith. He's just this awful, awful person in any way. Totally agree with that. I'll probably have some things to say in this, just so you know up front, I'm a Christian, so I'm not going to sit here if the lyrics go a different direction and just go, oh, okay. I know you didn't come here to hear my beliefs, but it's my channel. So if I disagree with something, I'll say it. But as far as like organized religion and that stuff, I've been to church for 5 years. It's 5 years this month. So that's a whole nother story. So I'm not one of those guys, but all right, man. Looking forward to this one. All the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, River. All right, Griftwood. Great guitar melody on there. Very catchy, very pleasant sounding. The lyrics, I'm not going to go into them a ton. The bridge, Holy Mother, you washeth the sin from. There is no Holy Mother, just FYI. I thought it was really good in the last chorus, right? You want to console the griever. You want to guide the believer. You and the great deceiver. So the great deceiver in the Bible is Satan, but I think if this is depends, he's talking about you and the great deceiver. So I'll let you fill in the blanks of who he's talking about there. So I thought that was some clever wordplay. So number 9, we got Majesty off the Meloria album in 2015. A little bit of where this fits. It follows Ghost's conceptual album chronology. By Meloria, the Antichrist had been conceived in Opus and born in Infestus Sumamum. That's such a hard word, is now here. The narrator is worshiping the devil and finds it funny yet pathetic that only now are normal people following suit, and in such numbers it looks like a sea of people clogging around his majesty, the old one, Satan. Probably not going to be my kind of tune, but hey, it's Halloween month, and that's part of the reason why River did this, and it fits with the theme. Definitely a more metal feel here, drumming fantastic, those metal guitars, but still had some really good melody there. I got a quote on it from a ghoul, member of the band, who said, lyrically, it's on one hand a hymn about the Dark Lord of the underworld. On the other hand, it paints a picture of a swarm of people whom in a world of complete disaster idolizes an authority that is clearly looking down upon them. How to love something that hates you back. So, it could be a political statement too. I could go into the lyrics. It's it's a hymn to Satan. So yeah. Next up at number 8, we got Monolith Clock off Infesta Suman. I went and listened to somebody say it. I guess that's the right way to say it. A horrible name for an album. If you can't pronounce the album, it's just hard, man. Just like you can't pronounce a band's name, it's hard. But we can pronounce Ghost and remember. From 2013. Papa Emeritus III said, quote, a song to celebrate the female orgasm in the name of Satan. Okay. Monolith Clock. I know what the wordplay they're trying to get here, by the way. You know, different too musically than the first 2 tracks, in that the keyboards are big in here and just almost that hymnal type of grand harmony there, almost chant-like in there. So, you know, a good job musically. I won't really get into the lyrics. I told you what it's about. You can probably gather from there what some of the lyrics are. Next up, we have Zenith River said a rare ghost track that only became available outside Scandinavia in 2023 off 13 Commandments. The song's been interpreted in different ways, but it's most probably a call to the day when Satan reached world domination, or representation of how far the band has come over the last years. It's quite the dichotomy, huh? All right, Zenith. A nameless ghoul said the title is more implying, ironically, the zenith that we think that we have reached. We're always building higher, and we're always getting a little bit faster, and everybody keeps earning a little bit more money, and everybody gets a little bit taller and a little bit tighter and a little bit. It's a constant improvement that we're hysterically trying to achieve. It's 100% right there. You know, obviously, I'm not going to agree with the lyricism maybe on any of these songs, like deeply disagree with them so far, but you can't argue with their musicianship. It's fantastic. Like, fantastic musician. I think a lot of these songs, there's more to them than that. Just like he's saying right here, right? Like, they're not wrong on that at all. All right, let's go to number 6. We got Kiss the Go-Goat from the album 7 Inches of a Satanic Panic in 2019. River says, while a lot of people love Mary on a Cross off 7 Inches of Satanic Panic, I think this song doesn't get nearly as much love as it should. It's definitely my favorite of the two, though Mary on a Cross was almost on this list, so spoiler alert, it's not. The song tells the story, this is my notes now, of someone falling in love with the devil and ghosts telling that person to kiss him in his goat figure. The track is a hysterical play on the band's Luciferian image, as people believe their songs simply consist of lodging for Satan. Well, their songs may not mean that, but they're just openly that way, right? Everybody thought Sabbath was that way, but if you really dig into Sabbath, they weren't that way at all. But these are just openly there. But we're going to watch an actual video for this one. All right, interesting to see them perform live. I won't even call it a mask. The really helmets they're wearing would be insanely hot. It's insanely hot on a stage under lights anyway. I can tell you that from experience, not playing music there, but like that would be insane. But I mean, spot on live performance. The arrangement was great. You know, it's a really good song musically. All right, we are to our top 5. We got Prime Mover off the Opus album in 2010. River said, this album is what got me into Ghost in the first place. I enjoyed the light edge to what looked like a black metal band in appearance that played closer to rock and roll. This song shows that darker edge while not having as fine a production. I found it narrates a story of the birth and conceiving of the Antichrist. It showcases a nun, some fans refer to her as the Anti-Virgin Mary, and how she carries the Antichrist in the womb. A prime mover is by definition an initial source of motive, power designed to receive and modify force and motion. This metaphorically represents how the Antichrist will soon be a source of power and will shape the world at his will, making everyone follow Satan, which of course will absolutely never happen. Once again, I'm a broken record. I'm not going to break down the lyrics because I'm just not, as a Christian. Like I've never really listened to any music that glorifies Satan. I've listened to a lot of music that people said back in the day glorified Satan, which absolutely didn't. But all these songs absolutely glorify Satan. Satan's real. I don't believe that Satan is not real. Satan will never win, but Satan is real. But really good instrumental build here. Like these guys as musicians are just they're fantastic, man. Next up, we got Watcher in the Sky. Going back to the Impera album from 2022. Our first song on here, number 10, Griftwood, was off this album. Tobias told Metal Hammer about the song. It enthusiastically explains how we can utilize science to make the world smaller and to reverse scientific things. Basically a flattened earth, which I found amusing. Long old school fade out on that bad boy. Very catchy, right? Great melody, great guitar work. A little bit of layered guitar on there at times, like fantastic, but really, really sticks in your head. I think they're looking for God to come down, or a God, if not the God, but good choice for number 4. We're going to stay right there in that wheelhouse. Same thing, Impera album 2022, Spillways. Tobias told Metal Hammer about the song. This is an elegy for the darkness that most people have inside. When you have a dam, spillways are the runoffs so the dam won't overflow. That darkness inside us needs to find its way out. That quote, this is an elegy for darkness that most people have inside. I would say that, I don't know, I guess all is a real, I mean, I guess you can't say all of anything, but I mean, almost all people, we all have darkness inside, right? It's just a matter of how we deal with it and hope that it doesn't get out. Spillways, well done song, instrumentation. It's very catchy. These Impera songs are really catchy, like really well done. I mean, one party's talking about, you got to let it out, not through forgiveness. Because, in Christianity, we're told to forgive because God forgives us, so we got to forgive others. And, they're kind of making the case that you don't really got to do that. But whether you're a Christian or not, whether you believe anything or not, I mean, if you don't forgive somebody and you just hold that anger inside, it only hurts you. It doesn't hurt them. They don't really care for the most part. So it's kind of destructive to you. Many people have entered into mental health counseling because they can't forgive. And man, I dealt with that till I was about 35. I couldn't forgive my father. And then I finally figured out, like, that dude doesn't care. So why should I? But anyway, let's go to the number 2 track. It's called Faith from the prequel album in 2018. River says, all I'll say is this. The whole prequel album feels like the most spite-filled album I've heard in a long time. You'll figure out why in your research. So this song talks in the perspective of the devil. He's all eyes, ears, and is watching everybody dying in this Black Plague period. The song could also be a diss for the former ghouls, for example, in The Accuser Sends the Bill. The song was previewed in some live shows. It's one of the few that features frontman Tobias Forge on lead guitar. He said of his guitar work on the track, and he's credited as Cardinal Copia in this, he said, I can play lead guitar if I need to, but one thing that sort of separates my way of learning to play guitar compared to a lot of others is that I sat with my guitar and my amplifier and I played a lot to records, but I usually came up with my own stuff over them. I never learned the actual solos. So in a cock measuring contest where it's about playing licks and playing fast techniques of others, I would definitely lose. So I've never considered myself a traditionally good fast playing guitarist, but I can do it, especially when I'm recording. With Faith, the solo called for an intense, aggressive part where I was like, this needs to be R. I wanted to have that sort of attack your ear when you listen to something like Metallica's Hit the Lights, where after every drum thing, there's this insane, quick, aggressive guitar bit. I wanted a piece like that, but that sounded more evil. All right, let's do it. Number 2. All right, the Black Plague period's coming where it, wiped out a third of the Earth's population. The guitar work was really good by Tobias on here. Really good. He captured exactly what he wanted. I mean, it's like every song on here, the musicianship is, top shelf. Let's find out what River's number 1 ghost song is. We go back to that Impera album from 2022. Respite on the Spitalfields. River says easily my favorite ghost song. Impera being what I think is their best album. And an easy, immediate classic for me. The pre-chorus with its hissed final syllables every other line. The soaring guitars and the melody from Impera at the beginning of the album getting stuck in my head easily. All right, let's go. Another long, like 70s, 80s type fade out on this bad boy. All right, really great musically as well. As all these songs off Impera have been. So a good way to finish this album out. Now we come to the part where I usually give my favorites. You guys have felt it throughout this, and I'm sure some of you guys are going to come after me in the comments, and I get it. Have at it. Musically, these guys are fantastic, right? Musically, song construction, these guys are fantastic. The content of the songs, I just can't. I'd never listen to these songs again, like never. Like I've heard some ghost songs I really liked, none of these, but I didn't realize like they're just openly satanic. Now I see people saying, well, it's just a role they're playing, but when you sing songs of that praise, and I see that Tobias, and this is usually what happens, grew up, and they said he was formed. He saw this as a rebellion against a very strict mom and a very strict Christian teacher that he had. Now, you guys may know more than that. I haven't dove into it. That's just an article I read about it. And I get that. It usually gets people to go the opposite way. But just because these people call themselves Christian doesn't represent the Christianity of the Bible. So don't lump me in with that. If you want to comment, you can say whatever you want, but I'm not that. But people misunderstand Christianity big time because they either grew up in a Catholic church. I'm not going to get into all of that. Or, had people who told me, you're going to hell because you did this or that. I mean, the very idea why Jesus came is because we are all sinners. We are all sinners. And so many Christians try to act like they live this perfect life and judge everybody else. And that just doesn't work. That's not what it's about. And that's not what the Bible calls you to. But the Bible's been so twisted in our culture by people who actually call themselves Christians, not by the other side. And so you end up with stuff like this. But, their ghosts are fantastic musicians. Tobias sounds great. I mean, a lot of this stuff reminds me of the style of music that I listened to, in my formative years back in the 80s because I'm old. But I will say that the best tracks for me are all the Impera tracks. So 10, 4, 3, and 1. So I think River definitely got this right with his favorite tracks. But I'm sure you will. Let me know what you think of this list, first of all, down below. And just remember with River, he had a tough job here because they got 5 albums and they got a lot of tracks that are highly thought of. So it's really hard to put a top 10 together. And then, just let me know what you think of them. You can let me know what you thought of my thoughts. But I appreciate you guys watching. And until next time, guys, I will see you.